All right, so I did the previous video of our 6 directional footwork with the Dimpox and Simpox, starting with the lunge, to try and incorporate some of our C-lot into this directional formula. Now, what I like to do here is sort of our, we could refer to it as our kickboxing format for it. You could call it all kinds of different things, but usually we just start applying these in a sort of a kickboxing application. But I've got a really cool way of tying these together in the collie class as well, and I want to make sure we get to that. So first thing we're going to do is you're going to start again, just as a review. If you haven't seen our previous 6 directional footwork, 6 directional will be up on a 45, up on a 45, out on a lateral, out on a lateral, back on the 45, and back on the 45. Again, I'll go ahead and go through this again. We can also have a focal point dead center, so I can keep an eye on this guy here, keep an eye on him there. Focal point here, focal point there, focal point here, and focal point there. And again, if you didn't see our previous video, this is fairly new, but if you have, then this is a review. I also mentioned this in the previous video that I had not thought of this beforehand, and honestly, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that. But all you got to do here, Guru Cornwell out of MKG Detroit shared this with me on a live stream class, and for some reason, it just, anyway, I step out on a 45, I look at a 45, step on a 45, look at a 45, step on a lateral, and look at the lateral line, look at the male line, and then look back on the 45 male line. So that was our brief review. If you want a little bit more in-depth touch on that, check out our previous video. You'll see a little bit more care taken to make sure that the details are a little bit tighter. Now, what I wanted to try and get to here is usually in our empty hand class, I'll have them get into a stance. If they're in our Thai boxing class, I have them get into our Thai boxing stance. If they're in more of our JKD or just sort of blended Panatukan empty hand class, then we get into more of a blended stance there. So I'm going to let you pick whichever one you want. I'm going to start with just our Thai stance, okay? So we're in our Thai boxing kicking stance, and what we're going to do is we're going to step up, like so, and drag this foot and bring it back. Now, I'm going to step up, and I'm going to drag this foot and bring it back. Right lead, bring it back. Now, to step laterally, I just step and move laterally, bring it back, step and move laterally, and then bring it back. I step out, I step back, I should say, and then bring this back. I should be offset on my Thai stance. And then on this one here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step out and bring it back, but now I'm in an off lead on the Thai stance. So this is a way of focusing on switching your leads. It's also a way of starting to incorporate the aspect of needing to get off on the angle due to pressure. If I had a training partner here, I'd have them start to actually provide pressure for me. I've got an idea. We're going to see if this works by the end of this video. And it's going to be utilizing my dummy. So what we're going to do again, pick a stance, and then you're going to move that stance. Step and move. Back. Step and move. And back. Step and move. And back. Step and move. And back. I'm going to go back here. Step and move. And step and move. Now, just like before, we can focus on that focal point, right? And in the event that we're in a well-lit ring/cage with a referee, like Guru Rick likes to say, then it's perfectly acceptable to just try and keep that one focal point, right? But in the event that we're trying to deal with more than one person, unfortunately, or we're trying to make sure we get out of that the situation altogether and find that exit, very fortunately, then you're going to need to make sure you incorporate, as I step off on this angle, looking around, as I step off on this angle, looking around, that sort of stuff. Now, next thing what we usually do is we'll start with a double shuffle on either. Now, depending on space, you can do 20 shuffles. I don't care, okay? But I'm just going to do 2, maybe 3 in each direction just so we can kind of get this thing going. So we step and shuffle, bring it back and bring it back. Step and shuffle, bring it back and bring it back. Step and shuffle, bring it back and bring it back. Step and shuffle, bring it back, bring it back. Now I step back, and and shuffle. And then I step back, shuffle, and shuffle. So you can start to really blitz this out. 1 and 2, 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 2. And it gets to be really tiring, really fast. And it's a great way of working your body out. Now, we're going to get to our dummy drill here. So this one here, like I said, we're trying this out. We'll see how this goes. I'm just using this guy here as sort of a stand-in attacker, just to try and illustrate my purpose here, my point. So he's right here. He's at arm's length. I'm going to step and drag this foot. I should now be at a better angle to him, right? Now, this position here, I step, drag this foot. I now have a better angle. If I step and move laterally, hey, it stands. Weird. Then it moves here, and I step and move laterally, goes there. When I step off on this direction here, I again have that better angle. Now, what I'm going to deal with, especially with the one going forward, right? Or when I'm going backwards, this guy's coming forward. I'm going to actually just have this guy fall towards me. What I want you to see is, if I stay squared up in front of him and he comes pressuring in, he's going to end up right in my center line here. We don't want that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull him towards me. As I do, I drag out this way. Now, granted, he's not going to fall right in front of me like this. But the idea is, when pressure's coming at you, you move off on this angle here, and you keep your base as you do so. Same thing on this side, except I'm switching my base as I do so. So I switch my base as I do so, but as I'm moving out on the angle, they're pressuring in. They're going to have to turn to face you. It's minute, I understand. It's tight. It's very tight angles. But as he does have that, you have a quick little shot that hopefully will set up other quick little shots. So that is sort of a basis of how to start into this. Now, if you have a heavy bag, this is a great way of starting to incorporate your kickboxing on the heavy bag from different angles, from different leads. I'm going to cut to that now. Okay, so as promised, we're going to cut to the bag. Now, I got to stand a little bit of ways away from the bag, but I want to make sure you see what I'm trying to get at here. Now, what you actually use as far as your tools on the bag doesn't matter. Now, what we're going to get here, though, is we're going to get an application of moving in on the 45, moving out laterally, and moving back on the 45. So we're going to start off, and I'm going to step in on the 45. Right now, we're going to deal with them obviously not giving me much pressure, but the pressure will really change things. So if I can step here like so, that definitely gives me some great body shot, head hook stuff, gives me that rear kick pretty nicely. So we move right back to the center. Again, body shot, head hook, rear kick. Nice and tight there. Now, if I move lateral on this position here, I really like using that rear teep to kind of drag that shot through there. You can use other tools as well. So this position comes through here. I step on a lateral. I use my rear teep or my lead teep. On this side, I prefer my lead teep because it's closer to the target. So lateral side, I'll show that again. Step, tap that shot, bring it back. Step, tap that shot, and bring it back. Now, this is where most people lose the asterisk footwork or the 6 directional footwork with the bag. Because they want to go back on the 45. When they go back on the 45, they have a hard time visualizing or picturing what they're coming at with next. So again, if you remember my dummy falling towards me, we are dealing with pressure on this one, right? So as I step back here like this, the person has now moved into this space. So really, they could throw a couple shadowboxing shots if they want, but what I usually have them do is I have them work their hop kick in, okay? So what I mean by that is if we're out in long range here like this, we'll work this either fake as a round kick, fake as a knee, fake as a teep, but you work that top right kick, okay? So what we're gonna do here is I step back on that 45. I bring it back here like so, hop, that round kick in there. I bring it back on the 45, and then I hop that left in there. So to put them all together on the first way of doing this on the bag, I step in, I hit 1, I hit 2, I hit 3. I step in, I hit 1, I hit 2, I hit 3. Bring it back. Now I'll step to the lateral side. Step lateral, I can teep. From that teep, I can throw other stuff if I want. Usually I just teep. Step, slide, throw that teep. Step and slide back. Now I fade back on this 45, hop, round kick back in. I fade back on this 45, hop, left round kick in. And then I bring it right back to center. That is one option. Now, the next option is you adjust where your base is. So if my base is here for this stepping off in the 45, so I can hit this and this, that works great, right? I'm well within range. If I want my base to be a little closer, now I can work other tools from this lateral motion. So from this lateral step here, if I step laterally here, I could teep, but I could also knee because I step closer to it. So as I move laterally, I might be able to foot sweep, throw the right, throw the left, throw the right, throw the round, right? I might be able to bring this through, step and foot sweep, throw the left, throw the right, throw the left, throw the right. Now the last one, and probably my favorite sort of way of training this, is to start your male triangle from a side of the bag. I am parallel with the bag. I'm right next to it, okay? So on this one here, I step back at that 45. Hey, I just squared up with it, right? So now I can throw whatever I want to throw back at it, bring it right back to where I was. Now I bring this back. I'm still technically at range to throw all my tools, but I'm not squared up. So now I have the angle to throw other stuff in there. So again, you can work your 6 directions on the bag from a steady point. So right now I'm using this. So I have this shot here, this shot here, this shot here, this shot here. Bring it back to that center hub, bring this in, hop right, and from this point here, fade out, and hop left. Or I can use it from a point much closer to the target. So again, if I'm here like this, we might even be in tight range here like this. I step in, 1, 2. Might be in tight, step in, 1, 2. Bring it out laterally, step out, bang, and step out laterally, bang. And then lastly, I start here, I fade all the way out, and I can start throwing whatever I want to throw. Fade all the way out, start throwing whatever I want to throw. So that is the way I have used the 6 directional footwork to my advantage on the bag. I'm able to actually get some reps on fading out, fading laterally, and stepping in, but still having a stagnant target. I don't always have a training partner, if you haven't noticed. So thank you very much. I hope it helps.